Aloha artists, Miss Maggie here today. We have been doing a lot of drawing and painting. So that is creating art that is flat on the surface of the paper. But what if we took that paper and started cutting and folding and bending it, and so that you had a piece of paper that became an object, that became a three-dimensional shape. That's right, today we are creating sculpture. That is when you use your art supplies to make something that is 3D. It's not just flat, we're going out into the real world now. Okay, here are the supplies that you're going to need. You are going to need one construction paper. I don't care what color it is, you pick from what you have from your art paper that got sent home at the beginning of the school year. And you are going to need scissors. And you are going to need some glue. A glue stick is perfect. If you have white glue instead, that is also all right. Okay, go find yourself a piece of construction paper. If you can't find your construction paper, your large drawing paper could be a second option, but it's got to be a little bit thick, not just flimsy lined paper, okay? Scissors and glue. Get those supplies and meet me right back here. Today, we are going to make a sculpture, a three-dimensional work of art out of shapes. Shapes can be 2 dimensions or 2D like this circle, but they can also be 3-dimensional like this sphere. You can also have a 3-dimensional shape like this cylinder. Take a look at that. It's a circle there, but it's been stretched out. It is long like that. You see how that works? Can you guess how I made that? Let's look at another one. So you can have a 2-dimensional triangle, or you can have a 3-dimensional triangular prism. Try say that. Triangular prism. It's a triangle that we have made 3-dimensional. Wow! So let's check out another one. So in 2 dimensions, I can have, what's that? It's a square, right? And you can turn that 3-dimensional into a cube. Do you see that square there? It's the same. And do you see that? It's the same square. How about that one? It's got the little flap from when I made it, but it's still a square. And there, and there, and there, all the sides of this are the same shape. They're all a square. Let's look at one that's a little bit different. Let's see here. Is that a square? Yeah, that looks like a square. But is that a square there? What's the difference? Is that side the same as that side? That looks like a rectangle. So this one, we have a square on that side, but it's not all squares. It's rectangles as well. So is this one a cube? Nope. It's our next thing. It's a rectangular prism. This is also a rectangular prism. If it was 2D, it would be a rectangle. But these ones have rectangles on their sides, and their shape here is a square or a rectangle. Let's see another really neat one. This one's one of my favorites. A hexagon. That's the 2-dimensional shape. Do you see how many sides it has? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. Let's see what it looks like when it's 3 dimensions. It is a hexagonal prism. It still has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. Look at those sides. Oh, they're like little rectangles or squares coming through, but they all connect and they make a hexagon shape on the front. So let's learn how to make some of those. And then all these shapes here, And any more you come up, we can connect them, we can build with them. You can decide what it is that you are going to make. Wonderful. So, the first thing you're going to need is your construction paper. We need to cut some strips like this. Let me show you how we're going to do that. First, take your paper. We are going to fold it, and we are going to take these two corners and bring them to these two corners. Watch how I do that. I bring it over, and then I match the corners. Match the corners, match the corners. See how same and same? I put my fingers here, and then I press, and I press from the center out, and I press from the center out. Do your best work. I bet you can do this on your own, even if it's not perfect. When you practice doing it on your own, you build your muscles and you build your skills for being able to do it on your own even better next time. Okay, next, we're going to do the same thing again. See these two corners here? I'm going to bring them to these two corners. Fold it over, match up the corner, match up the corner. Hold it with one hand there. Hold it strong. Make a mark right there, and then press that way and press that way. That's looking good. We're going to fold it one more time. This is starting to get tough because the paper is layered and thick, but I bet you can do it. This time, I'm going to put my thumb in the center, and I am going to bring this part down to that side. Match up the corner, hold it there. Match up the corner, hold it there, and then press, press, press. Use those muscles. You can do this. Do your best work that you can manage. If it doesn't go the way you expect, then it's an opportunity to be creative and a problem solver and figure out the best way forward. I believe. Let's see what we have. I have a bunch of lines on my paper. I need to cut them all. That's a lot of work, but I know you can do it, and let me show you one more trick. I'm going to fold it in half like this, and then I'll cut on the lines carefully, but I'll be cutting two at once. Neat, huh? Let me show you that again. I'm taking the whole paper, folding it in half again, and then see this line here? I'm going to cut both pieces of paper there on that line, and that means that I am cutting two at once. Half the work. As long as I'm careful, as long as I focus, I'm watching that my scissors are on that line. I'm going slowly. Use your focus. Just like when you're drawing, we focus. When we're cutting, we focus just as much. And there I go. Two strips. Let's do that again. Right on the line. Snip, 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 snip. Okay, there we go. Two more. And we're getting close. Great. Now, I'm going to do that one there. Got those. And so those are all separate, but this one's still stuck together. Well, let's cut on that line too. Don't rush. I know it's your last one, but don't rush. Take your time. If it takes you more time for cutting than me, that's okay to pause the video and keep cutting until you're done. Cutting takes practice, just like every other art skill, and it is good to take your time and do your best work. Now, I have all of these strips. Isn't that exciting? These are what we're going to turn into our three-dimensional shapes. Now, you are going to need your glue. You might have a glue stick, you might have white glue. Either one are good. I like the glue stick best for this, but I'll show you how to use the white glue too for this. The first one I'm going to do is make a cylinder. Can you guess how we do that? I am going to take one of my strips and I am going to put a little bit of glue right here on the end. Glue sticks, I like having lots of glue, but I'm only putting it on this last part, about as wide as my finger. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to match it over to the other side. And I'm going to make sure that it's straight right here and right here as best as I can. Make sure that it's straight and then pinch it and count to 10 as you pinch it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you rush, it might come apart and then we'll have to do it again. So it's not less work to rush. Now, that is a cylinder. Wow, look at that. That's great. So we have our cylinder. Let's do a triangle. We're going to start the same way as before though. I'm going to take a strip like this and put a little glue. If I'm using white glue, the rule is dot, dot, not a lot. So if I end up with a dot like that, ooh, that's already enough for 2 dots. I'm going to go dot, dot. There we go. And I need one more tiny dot. That is the size of a white glue dot. So I have 3 little dots. If I had too much, I wipe it off with my finger or a napkin, get it out of the way, and then I'm going to make that cylinder. But you said that we were making a triangular prism like that. Well, watch what we do. Oh, I'm holding this, counting to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I need to turn this circle into something with 3 sides. That means that I need to put 3 corners into it, 3 pinches. And so I'm going to make 1 pinch. I'm going to make 2 pinches. And I'm going to make a, ooh, that's a cool shape. I'll remember that in the future. 3 pinches. Now it has 3 corners and 3 sides. But it is not just a triangle. It is 3 dimensions, so it is a triangular prism. Woohoo! And so let's do a rectangular prism. How many sides is that going to have? Rectangular prism. That had the word rectangle in it, didn't it? So we could do one like this and we could do one like that. Neither are quite cubes because that's not a rectangle, but I think that both are neat. So I'm going to make my cylinder again. Take my glue, attach the 2 ends, make sure they're straight. If your cutting isn't quite even like that, I'm still going to glue it together and count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If it's really bugging me that that and that are a little bit different, I just go like that. All good. See? I'm going to do the one where the shape here is a square first. Watch how I do that. I'm going to make a fold and then I'm going to flatten it. Oh, look, it's 2 dimensions again. It's not 3 dimensions anymore. I flattened it. But I'm not done. I'm going to open it up again. And I'm going to flatten it again. But watch this. I'm going to make it so that those 2 folds match. They're in the same spot right in the middle. And I fold again. And look, that's a square. It's still a rectangular prism because that's a rectangle. But it's a square on that side there. I like it. How about this one? How do we do that one instead? Well, let's make another one. And remember, if I'm ever going too fast here, you can pause this, you can rewind this, you can watch parts again. Do what you need in order to follow along. You're in charge of where you are in the video as long as you use it to create your best work. Okay, I held that, counted to 10, and I need to make it look like this one. I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to do a fold here, and I'm going to flatten it. And then I'm going to flatten it again, and I can flatten it anywhere I want, as long as I make it flat. Because now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. And because this one, I made it so that those two match up perfectly, that shapes a square. This one, I flattened it, and then I flattened it somewhere else, but the corners don't match up when I flatten it. So it is a rectangular prism with a rectangular side there. Okay, now on to the hexagon, the 6-sided shape. That one, I believe that you can do that one too. So let's see, we have all these awesome shapes here. Let's make another cylinder, because that is how all of these start. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I glued it, and now for the hexagon, like that, I'm going to flatten it again. One trick I do is that I flatten it right on the seam. The seam is where there's a line from attaching the two sides. I flatten it there, and I flatten it straight across, so it's flat. That is our first step, just like the other two. And you don't have to flatten it on that part, but on all of these, that's part of how I make it look clean, and no one notices that part there. Now, hexagons have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. I have to figure out how to make this have 6 sides, and I want to make them as even as possible. So watch this. I have my flattened shape here. I'm going to fold this over, not all the way, but do you see how this side and that side look the same right now? I'm folding it. I didn't crease anything yet. I just took my finger and flapped it over. That part and that part, they look about the same right now. And so if they're about the same, as close as I can, that shape and that shape, find them so that they're the same, I'm going to fold that down. And then I'm going to fold this part over there. And it's not quite the same, but it's pretty close. And so now I have it like that. I'm going to open it up, and it needs a little help. Some of these need to be folded the other way, but the creases are there. And I'm going to fold it so that all the shapes point out, and there we go, the hexagon. So how did I do that again? I had it flat. I folded one part over so that side and that side looked about the same, and then I folded the other part over, and I creased everything. I opened it up and helped the parts all point in the right direction, and I've got a hexagon. If it didn't quite turn out right, guess what? You have some extra pieces. You can try some of these shapes again, or what other sorts of shapes can you make out of them? I wonder. These are so much fun. Let's see. What if I do one where I make a cylinder, and then what sort of shape could I make if I do just one pinch on it? I could do a pinch like that. Oh, it's like a teardrop shape. Interesting. I could add more pinches too if I want. I could make it so that it has one pinch right here, and it's like sort of like a half circle. It's also kind of like a smile. Haha, that's fun. And there's a couple more here. What do you want to make with them? I'd love to see what shapes you create with these. Whoa, that's fun. Look at that. It's kind of a star. I got that just from playing around. How are you playing around with your last couple? Seeing what shapes you make out of them? I'm still doing it. I am using my circles and putting different amounts of folds in them to see what I can get. Look at this. I'm going to fold one this way. Doesn't quite want to stay, but I have a heart. Ha ha! This is so much fun. Now we get to go on to the next step of our sculpture. We get to make something out of these. So before we start gluing, let's just try out some ideas. I want to see if I can make something that stands up tall, but I'm not sure where I want to put it. I'm going to be gluing pieces together, but here's the thing. In order to glue something together, the two sides need to have places we can glue. Like I can glue that part to that part by pinching it together, but I can't really glue that part to that part easily. See how the gluing would be pretty tough. So we're not going to do things like that today, but I could do something like that. These are kind of like building blocks now. You could make anything out of them. A robot, a house, or just an interesting shape made out of your three-dimensional shapes. The sky is the limit. What are you going to make? I think I'm going to try making mine all connected in a round, and then once it's all glued together, maybe it'll hold together and I'll be able to hold it up. It's a little bit of an experiment. Sometimes art is like that. Now, this time it's extra important. Do you remember how we attached things before? I put some glue where it's going to attach. If it's glue stick, I put a whole lot right there. It's hard to put it there, so I'm putting my finger behind, rubbing it on there so it's a lot. And then, where does it attach? I'm going to make sure that's the right spot, and I'm going to pinch it. Pinch it with both hands. I'm going to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those two have connected now. Okay, I'm going to attach these two. And I think I want that one right in the center of that one. So this half circle sort of shape is going to have some glue there. And then I'm going to put it where I want it to attach. Double check before you pinch it together. Yep, that's where I want it. Now I'm going to pinch, 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 count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, that's starting to be really neat like that. So cool. Now, this one's going to go here. Putting that glue where it's got to go. I think I need to twist this so I have a little bit more glue. There we go. That's a little easier. See how you can definitely tell there's some gooey stuff there. Okay, oops, where does it go? Think it right like that, I think. Or it was not quite on the end. It was like right there. Okay, pinch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. And then right there on the edge of my star shape, got my triangular prism connecting with my star-shaped prism-ish three-dimensional sculpture piece. Pinch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, look at that. I wonder if it stands up already. Oh my goodness, look at that. Isn't that so neat? Look at our sculptures. They wiggle a little bit, but it does stand up on its own. Neat. Okay, but I lost what I'm doing. Let's recreate what my sculpture was. Uh-oh. See, you get too excited, you can lose what you are doing. And so now I have to be creative again and think out my plan. Some cylinder glue on there and choose that part of the three-dimensional star shape. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. I think I'm gonna do the heart shape down here, attach it to the rectangular prism. I think it's easier to put the glue on the one that's still loose right now. And it's hard to put glue on it, but I put my hand inside, put the glue on, rubbing it so it's got a lot of goo on there, and then I pinch it. Let's do the hexagonal prism, the six-sided shape that is three-dimensional, and so it is a prism. So neat. Putting that glue on there. Glue, glue, glue. And double check, is that where I want it? Yeah. With that corner right in the corner of the heart. I can give it another little fold, make sure it stays there, and count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And for me, this last one is going to need glue on two sides, I think. It ended up being this one. How's it going to go? I can't glue it corner to that because there's not enough spot to put the glue. But if I put it here and then like that, I think that will work. Okay. Yours doesn't have to look anything like my sculpture. You get to attach these shapes however you want to create your own work of art. It's a work of art just like the drawings we've been doing. It's just a sculpture instead. Paper is one of my favorite materials for creating sculptures out of because there's really so much you can do with it. And I'm going to put some glue on this circle and attach it here. Count to 10. I think that's my last piece. Does it stand up? Kind of. It might blow over. But there we go. There's my piece. Ooh, I wonder if it should go in a different direction. Oh my goodness, isn't that fun? Does yours stand up? What does yours look like? You could even add more to it. If you want to make more pieces, go right ahead. But I like mine here. I can't wait to see what yours looks like. I bet it is an amazing sculpture. Let's look at our sculptures. Can you still find the shapes we started with? Can you find the cylinder? Can you find your rectangular prism? Do you have two? I have two of them. Do you have your triangular prism? That shape that is a triangle that we've made 3D? What about your hexagonal prism? Can you find that one? I hope so. Now you know how to make all those shapes three-dimensionally out of paper. Here is your reflection question. What was your favorite thing about creating a sculpture today? What do you think you're going to try again? Okay, remember to clean up your space, put away your scissors and your glue. Take a photo of your artwork so that you can share it with me and with your teachers online, and put this up somewhere in your house so that your family can enjoy it and you can too. Where are you going to put it? It might be hard to hang it on the wall, but maybe you can find a way, or maybe it goes on a table somewhere. Maybe you hang it like this. I don't know. You get to decide. Okay, I'll see you next week. Hooey ho! Hexagonal, hexagonal, hexagonal prism. I'm finally saying that one right.